Ha! Oops. So last night when we were watching movies, I had to turn the mic off in here and keep the mic on Discord so people didn't hear me twice. I forgot, so sorry. Hello, Handsome Ratch, Lobsoul, Ironically Hopes, Desert Moon, Billy, Jeff, Phil, Queen. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me. We'll give it a few minutes. How long? We'll give it another minute. Today, I am gonna, I think your channel has nothing to do with SJW things? Oh my god, bro. I'm gay. If I want to talk about being gay, I will talk about being gay, bro. America's dying because of Okay. Okay. Time out. Time out for you, my friend. Hello, Lisa. If you think that me talking about being myself and my life is somehow SJW, you can go. You can go. I get to do whatever I want. Also, with the way that life is right now, I don't have the energy to make videos. Who's editing videos right now? I'm watching anime and pretending that everything's fine. You know, everything's fine. Just the room on fire, but everything's fine. Anyway, I knew we would probably get some bullshit since I put LGBT in the title, but whatever, who fuck cares? As y'all probably know, if you've watched long enough, I am gay. I'm major gay, hella gay. And, it means a lot to me to be able to experience fiction that represents that I can connect with on that level. Since, you know, a big part of growing up, I feel like gay is figuring it out and stumbling in the dark and finding little pieces of light that lead you to figuring yourself out. And it can be so very hard to find those pieces because, especially back in the 90s, I feel like, it was hard to find, you know, gay fiction. I mean, I was probably in college by the time I really discovered things that felt true to me. And so it took that much longer for me to go, oh, I feel this way too. That's why I'm like this, you know? Oh, hi, Helena. Sorry. I'm a little off right now because I had to run and get water and had a phone call. Anyway, so today I'm going to recommend some of my favorite stuff. Things that are top of the top of gay shit. I have a full recommendation list in the description of much larger list of things, some of which are either just not as fantastic, like not my favorite, or I haven't read them yet, but I've heard they're good. So you can check out the whole list if you want and you know, see if those things are good or not. I haven't gotten to check everything. But these are going to be things I've actually read, I love them to pieces, and I think you should all enjoy them. So let me pull up the slideshow. Is this the one? That is the one! Alright, so we're going to start with book recommendations. This book is called Ash by Malinda Lo. And I've actually considered for reading stories and stuff, which I've really been enjoying reading Lord of the Rings with y'all. Maybe we'll do something like a day of reading something, one of these things, if y'all would be into that. Ash is a retelling of the fairy tale of Cinderella. The main character is the Cinderella character. Her name is Ash. And the love interest is a female knight in the service of the crown. So I don't think, she wasn't a prince, but she was a warrior. She was a knight. And it's basically the story of Cinderella, but there's a little bit more fairy tale magic in it. Fae folk are in it. And the two characters over the course of a few years come across each other again and again and end up really becoming lovers and falling in love. It's the story of Cinderella, but a little bit more magic-y, maybe a little bit Snow White-ish, because she's kind of got a curse on her and the knight goes out to save her. And there's also a prequel called Huntress, which I haven't read yet, that's about the knight and how she became a warrior and stuff like that. It's really just very lovely prose, very lovely kind of fairy tale magic centered on two young gay kids figuring their lives out, and it's really well written. I think it's Malinda Lo's most famous works, but she's written half a dozen things. I've just not read them yet. So yeah, I highly recommend this. It really took me on a wild ride. I really enjoyed it. It was very mystical and kind of sweet and magical, and it's just very, very nice experience. I read it all in one night. I was like, oh, this is so good. Because I love gay fairy tales, which is what the next one is as well. Where's my... Peter Darling. Peter Darling is a lovely, lovely reinterpretation of the story of Peter Pan. Wendy, you know, in the story that Wendy is the little girl that Peter meets and flies off with to Never Never Land. In this story, Wendy is Peter Pan, because Peter Pan is a transgender man, and he goes to live in into Never Never Land because it's where he gets to be him. But the story is about how he has to come to terms with the fact that he can't live in Neverland forever. It is also a love story between him and Captain Hook, both of whom, they're both adult men because time has passed here. But it explores the boundaries between who we want to be seen as and what the world sees us as, and how we can assert ourselves when people love us for who we are. And it's really, really lovely and a little heartbreaking. I went into it wanting to read it because the idea of transgender Peter Pan was amazing. I did not expect the romance with frickin' Captain Hook, but it was really well done. And by the end of it, I was like, oh, I'm so glad they get to live happily ever after. Oh my god, and they love each other. Oh my god. This one you can't get physically, I don't think. I think it's only sold through Amazon. I read it digitally on my Kindle. But yeah, you can check that out over there. It's really good. I think the author's written one or two other things, but this is all that I've read by him. So good. Tanya Huff. All right, I actually got a couple of her books here. Tanya Huff is an authoress who's, I think, Canadian? She's been writing for like 2 decades and has like 40 books. And tons of them have gay characters. Like, just so much. Often just kind of there. Like, they're not always gay romances, but like the book The Fire Stone has the male main character coming to terms with the fact that this angel who's descended from heaven to help them stop the apocalypse is really hot and also a dude. It doesn't end up being a romance, but it deals with the fact that he's realizing he's attracted to a male angel. Other books like the Smoke and Shadow series are actually about 2 gay guys and vampires. Gay guys and vampires. So just her books are very well written and tend to have LGBT themes kind of sprinkled throughout, even when they're not the focus. There's another book series that has a lesbian character. The younger sister is a lesbian, and the 3rd book in the series focuses on her. Which one was that? That was the book about the... Oh man, it's about... I cannot remember. She literally has so many books. I've read like half of them, and they're all really great. I love her vampire series, which is Smoke and Shadows and Blood Ties. Her older fantasy is pretty good too. She writes a lot of high fantasy. I really liked Gate of Darkness, Circle of Light. I would highly recommend checking out all her works if you like high fantasy, if you like fantasy of any kind. And a lot of her works do tend to have LGBT stuff in them. Even if it doesn't always seem obvious, but some of them are completely obvious. I haven't read Smoke and Shadows yet, but I read the series that came before it, and I'm really excited to see how my gay vampire boy finally finds true love. Alright. Rainbow Roll! Oh my god. Okay. This book is very special to me. The cover is done by, I think Kaoru Wada is the name. I saw it in the bookstore, and Kevin Wada, that's the name, Kevin Wada. Kaoru Wada's a musician, I think. I loved the art style because I'd read a bunch of comics that he'd done work on, and I was like, oh wow, that's really pretty. I'm gonna buy it. Did not know when I bought it that it was gay. And I was just reading it like, this is fun. This is, no way! Because it kind of, I was reading it and I was like, wow, these 2 characters seem to be in love. These 2, oh my god, they're in love. To explain what Carry On is, it's actually based on a different book by Rainbow Rowell called Fangirl. Fangirl was a book about being a fan. And the fictional universe that the fangirl was a fan of was the universe of these characters. It was a blatantly Harry Potter ripoff, kinda. So it was basically, she was writing a book about being a fan of Harry Potter, but changed it so that it wasn't Harry Potter. And after she wrote Fangirl, she was like, you know what? I want to write the universe of that fake Harry Potter universe and see what I could do with it. And that's what Carry On is. It's very similar in style to the ideas behind, you know, the chosen one going to school. He has a rival he doesn't get along with. But in this story, the chosen one and the rival fall in love. And it's a trilogy. And it literally had me crying. The second book's already out. The third book comes out next year or the year after. It literally had me in tears at one point. I was just, oh my god, it's so freaking cute. I mean, it's if you ever read Harry Potter and felt like, aw, this sucks that, like, nobody's gay, I don't exist in this universe, you exist in this universe, and it's so much better. It's so good. Oh no, you couldn't figure out how to make Discord work? Well, we watch it, we're gonna talk about that show too. Yes, if you ever felt disappointed or betrayed by J.K. Rowling, you need to read Rainbow Roll. Carry On is amazing, and it will heal the wounds in your heart. Modazushi, we watch it on, Twitch, and you can chat in the Twitch chat if you'd like, if you can't get into the Discord call. You won't be able to talk to us on the call, but maybe later I can try and help you figure out how to make Discord work. I think we're gonna continue the show on Friday. Okay, let's see here. Of Fire and Stars. This is another series. I knew when going into this one that it was gay because it's very blatant. But it is a princesses and knights and fairy tale story about two young women. It's an arranged marriage between a young princess and a prince of a neighboring kingdom. But she ends up falling in love with the prince's unruly sister who doesn't want to behave and goes out hunting and fighting and doing things that princesses are not supposed to do. There ends up being a lot of kind of political intrigue and drama and stuff going on, and eventually the princess and the huntress end up together. It is also a series of 3, I think it's a trilogy. The second book is out. I have not read it. But I really enjoyed it. It was really very fun. Very, you know, kind of, again, like, not high fantasy maybe, because it doesn't have, like, elves and dwarves and stuff, but, you know, a lesbian fantasy romance about arranged marriage where the arranged part doesn't go through. It was very, very good. I really liked it. And I can't wait to keep reading the next one, because a lot of shit happened. Aw, E.T., I'm sorry. Aw. Well, hopefully you can at least watch the stream and enjoy it vicariously afterward. The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. Talk about books that made me cry. It is a historical romance set in the 1800s? 1800s, about a young nobleman who is going on a tour of Europe, which is like the thing to do if you're a young nobleman. The thing this time is he's being, it's his kind of his last hurrah before he's forced to conform to normal life. He doesn't want to because he's gay. His best friend is biracial. I think he's half black, half white, and is going on the trip with him. And his younger sister wants to be a doctor, but of course she's a girl. So it's about the 3 of them on this last journey together, you know, wishing they could escape the fates that await them because of their gender or race or sexuality, and not knowing how to do that. It deals a lot with familial abuse, and the characters kind of getting over, like, the main character has a lot of trauma related to how bad his family's been to him, and he ends up kind of getting a new dad that adopts him a little bit, and the scene where oh man, it's so sad. He finally gets the love and family he deserves, and he falls in love with his best friend, and they live happily ever after, obviously, after the end of their great traveling together. There is a side story book, a novella, and there are 2 more books in the series. The second book focuses on the sister trying to become a doctor. I haven't read it yet. And the third book, I have no idea. I don't think it's out yet. This book really did make me cry. Not just because of the romance, but because of the family drama and how the main character has been abused for being gay and has really become, like, he hates himself. And his friends and his newfound family teach him that there's nothing wrong with who he is. And it made me so sad, but also very happy. I need to read the next one. All right. Ursula K Lagoon. She's very famous. You've probably heard of her. And a lot of her works involve the exploration of various sexualities. The Telling, the one listed here, the main character is a lesbian. Romance isn't always the focus of the stories. The focus here really is more recovering from loss, because the main character lost a lot before the beginning of the story and is kind of dealing with the trauma of that. But part of that is her history of she was a lesbian and in love with a woman that she lost. Other books, I think The Left Hand of Darkness does something similar. Sometimes she writes books about like alien races, and they often have different ideas of gender and sexuality, which I think one of the other books in the series does something like that, where everyone is the same gender or referred to the same way. I haven't read them all. But she does a lot to explore those kinds of things, and writes a lot of stories that deal with gay characters. They aren't always romances. She doesn't really seem to focus on romance as much as she does on just like character exploration and growth. Like the telling is really about the main character coming to terms with her life and moving forward from her loss. It's really good. Very moving story. All right. Let's see. Now we're on to comics. So, I have talked about the Transformers and how good it is so many times, but I'm going to talk about it again. The Transformers IDW universe, which is the publisher that took over in like the 2000s, they turned the Transformer comics into something of a masterpiece, where originally before that they were kind of a mess and not always good. But specifically, More Than Meets the Eye, which started coming out like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, deals a lot with gender and sexuality in a way that Transformers rarely has. The fact that they are alien species and they aren't like, mammals or whatever, they have their own ideas about gender and sexuality and marriage, and the comics explore that really well. There are multiple same-gender romances, female and male. Hey, St. Paul, let's go! I haven't finished the series, but I presume somebody gets a happy ending. Ratch has finished the series. Do Ratchet and Drift ever canonically get together? Do they? Because I feel like they were hinting it. I know that does Tailgate and Cyclonus get together? Who's canonical? I know the ones from the early parts of the story. I know Rewind and Chrome Dome are married. I know that there's a pair of lesbian robots that are married, but I haven't finished the series, so I don't know if the other hinted at pairings ever become real or not. But anyway, it's a really well-written universe. It has a lot of really great characters and a very diverse cast, for all the fact that they are a diverse cast of giant robots. If you like action and adventure and stuff, it's really fun. I really like it. Oh, they do? Hell yeah! I thought they would. They wrote a whole mini-series about how frickin' Ratchet goes across the universe to chase after him. Of course they had to be canon. Thank you. So yeah, it's a very good series. It's a lot. Whirl and Tailgate? Wait, Whirl? Whirl gets with Tailgate? Really? Huh. Okay. If you need help getting into the series, because it is a lot, I have a guide, and I have a bunch of lists. You can chat with me on Discord if you want to get into it. So, yeah. Monstrous. If you like horror, you will love Monstrous. I absolutely adore this series. There are 4 comic paper collections so far. It's a story of, interesting. I didn't expect that, Ratch. A world divided by war, in which humans are fighting with magical creatures who are basically the children of the Fae, and the main character is possessed by a Cthulhu-like eldritch god. The gods are all dead, except for this one that's possessing her, and now both sides of the war are terrified of her and want to destroy her and or use her, and she's on the run from everyone. There are a lot of gay women. There are a lot of women, period. The story is almost entirely about women. And a lot of gay pairings. Romance is not the focus, but it is there, and I think, honestly, I can't think of a single straight character. I can't. So it's not a story for if you want to read, like, a gay romance, but if you want to read an awesome horror story, an awesome fantasy story about gay people, it's really lovely. And I mean, it's horrifying. She has to eat people because the god inside her really makes her hungry. It's awful and disgusting, and I love it. It's so good. One of my probably my favorite comic, honestly. I haven't read the most recent updates, but it's just beautiful, haunting, horrible, monstrous. It's monstrous. I really like it. Okay. Motor Crush! I can't talk about Motor Crush as much, because it's been literally years since I've read it. It went on hiatus for a while, but now it's back. Basically, I remember it being lesbians on motorcycles. I'm pretty sure that's what it is lesbians on motorcycles. It's no longer, I think, being published issue by issue. It is, I think, digitally being published issue by, or no, I think they're only coming out with paperbacks, I think. So every, 6 months it'll come out. They had a little bit of trouble selling the issues early, but they didn't cancel it. They just changed the way it's published, so that's great. Yeah, I feel like there's a difference between gay romance, books about gay love and books about gay people. Sometimes they don't always cross, which is lovely, honestly. I like a story where a character can be gay and go on high adventures and stuff. And they don't have to fall in love, but if they do, cool. So I kind of differentiate a little bit like that. Yes, the art for frickin' Monstrous is absolutely lovely. It's amazing. So anyway, I think 2 books in Motor Crush are out, and like I said, they were on hiatus for a while, but the 3rd one's supposed to be coming. But I remember it being fun. Yeah. So yeah, lesbians on motorcycles in, I think, a post-apocalyptic future. Something. It's been so long since I've read it. I need to reread it. Anyway. Bloom. So this is not a series. It's one collection of a pretty kind of sorrowful story. It's a little somber, about a kid who's in a band and lives with his family in this seaside town, and they are bakers. And he wants to be free. He wants to go and be part of the world and do shit. He doesn't want to be trapped at home in his family's baking, company, whatever. So to that end, he tries to hire someone to assist them in the bakery so that he can have more free time to be part of his band. And he ends up falling in love with the guy that they hired to help. It's really soft and sweet, and it's about 2 boys falling in love while they bake. And I really enjoyed it. It has a happy ending, but it's a little somber because the main kid definitely struggles with some depression, for sure. It's very cute. I really liked it. And yeah, it's one complete story. It's not one issue or anything. The Adventure Zone! So the Adventure Zone is actually a podcast. It was a podcast done by a group called the McElroys. They're comedians. Clint McElroy is the dad, and then his 3 sons, Griffin, Justin, and Travis. They play D&D live and put it out as a podcast on MaximumFun.org. The podcast is hilarious. They're so funny, and being, family and comedians, they have so many inside jokes and stuff that will just crack you up so much. But the lovely thing is that the character, the green elf, Taco, is gay. His sister is transgender. And Taco the elf, he falls in love with death. And I think his first line to him in the show was something like, hey dude, I'm a tentacle your dick. It's really funny and lovely. And when it started because they made these jokes about Taco flirting with death, and LGBT fans really loved it. So they were like, you know what? Yeah, he's gay and he's in love with death, and they get together. In the end of the story, he marries death. Oh my god. So it got so popular, it's been adapted into a comic. The first 2 are out. The 3rd comes out this summer. But I would honestly, if you like podcasts and you could use a laugh, The Adventure Zone is so funny. It's so funny and so sweet. And it's a really lovely story. And frickin' Taco and Loop, his sister, are amazing. It's really cool. He wants to bone... Yes, he does. He bones the Grim Reaper. He does. He flirts with him, and eventually he gets with him. It's really great. It's so funny. Especially because, early on, they were like, yeah, we like that you guys like these 2 together. We probably won't do a lot romantic with them because, we're brothers playing the 2 characters, so we don't want to do that too much. But then by the end of the show, there's literally a romantic reunion between them, and you can tell the two boys that are writing the story are so, like, they care so much about these characters. Yes, even though they're brothers, you could tell that by the end of it, they love the characters so much that they wanted to write them a happy romantic ending. And it's so cute that they were able to do that, even though, you know, they're brothers. They play the roles so well, it's so funny. I'm pretty sure, Phil, that the comedians actually make those jokes in the show, too. It's a really good show, honestly. I got to see it live once. They are so funny and just so creative. I highly recommend it. And I definitely enjoy the fact that there are gay characters and trans characters in the stories. And they talked to fans to try and, you know, they wanted to be as I don't know, honest and authentic as possible. I think they did a good job. Rat Queens. Speaking of D&D, Rat Queens is if a D&D team of 4 gay women went on adventures. I've only read like the first 4. This is another story that has romance but doesn't focus on romance. It's a lot about the friendship between the 4 women and their histories, how they came to be a kind of a team of mercenaries that are hired out to fight monsters and zombies and blah blah blah. It's in a D&D style world, and the 4 of them go on quests together, and you know, it deals with gender issues and stuff, because one of the female characters is a dwarf who's kind of fights against traditional dwarven ideas of gender. I'm pretty sure all 4 of the women are gay or bisexual at the least. Again, this is one of the ones that I've read years ago, and it's been a while since I caught up with it. But I remember really enjoying it, and it was a lot of fun. I would highly recommend it. I think there's 7 volumes now. It's been a while since I've read it, but anyway. Moonstruck! This one's far newer. It is a coffee shop story about magical creatures. So everybody's like a centaur or a werewolf or a zombie, but they all just live in a normal little town, and the main character works at a coffee shop, and she falls in love with one of the people that visits the coffee shop, another woman. I think they're both werewolves too, both female werewolves, and it's just them in their little town at their coffee shop falling in love with all their friends who are also magical and or gay, and it's super cute and sweet and lighthearted, and the cover here is really lovely. That's the 2 main characters there, and I love how cute they are. Look at them. It's really adorable and very sweet. If you want something nice and relaxing and romantic, coffee shop werewolves. Haha! I won't talk about this one too much, since very many of you probably have watched me play it. But you know, I gotta mention The House on Fata Morgana. It's a story that focuses on the experiences of a transgender umbrella character. Don't want to say too much there because it is some spoilers, but I want to say enough that you know, check it out. It's really haunting and heartbreaking and beautiful, and one of the best romances ever. I love it so much. And really, I felt a lot experiencing the story as a non-binary person. I really love it. So definitely check it out for sure. Dragon Age! Dragon Age was legitimately the first time I experienced gay fiction. My mom bought me Dragon Age Origins for Christmas. I had no idea what it was. And then I found out you could be gay. I fell in love with Zevran. I always played as a male character because I just didn't... I always felt very uncomfortable by female armor and stuff, so I always ended up creating male characters. And then I found out you could romance Zevran, the male elf, as a guy, which was amazing to 16-year-old me. I did not understand at all. And it was so light-hearted and fun and lovely and so well written. And there was a female character, too, who you could romance that I ended up romancing later. And then you get to Dragon Age 2, and every romance option in that game is bisexual. You can romance them no matter what you are. And it's amazing. And all the characters are so well written and so human and diverse and heartbreaking. My favorite is in Dragon Age Inquisition, where there's a gay man. That story was written by a gay man, and his story, Dorian, focuses on how his father literally tried to force him to change who he is, and he runs away from home to try and escape and be his authentic self, and his story breaks my heart. I love Dorian so much. Zevran and Fenris also are two of my favorites. I love Isabella. I romanced the heck out of her. I mean, just, there's so many gay characters in this universe that are so well written. I don't mention Mass Effect, even though they have some, because they were slower on the uptake, and the gay romance options they are not as well written at all. They're much smaller. They're side characters for the most part, or even characters that can just die. Like, it's not as quality. It is there. And if you like sci-fi, spacey, shoot, bang, bang stuff, play Mass Effect. But Dragon Age is the far better representation of LGBT stuff. Oh, do I know any books where stuff like the main character is taken to another world and crazy shit happens? I didn't put this on the list because I haven't read it yet, but one sec. An Accident of Stars is written by a non-binary writer about I think a teenage girl who falls through a hole in the universe and ends up in a magical realm on the edge of civil war. It's only not on the list just because I haven't read it yet, but yeah, it's supposed to be a romance, I think, between women? I don't know, because again, I think one of the characters might be non-binary. I haven't read it, I don't know, but yeah, check out An Accident of Stars by Meadows. Aw, I'm sorry, Jeff. We'll be able to hang out later. Hello, LMD. Yeah, Mass Effect's romances, the thing about them I feel like is the best romances are the ones with the aliens, and you can't romance the aliens as a gay person. If you could be with a Garrus as a dude, hell yeah. Or Zane? Zane? No, Thane. Those are my two favorites. Everybody else I feel like got shafted. Have I played anything by Studio Elan? I have not, but Heart of the Woods is the lesbian visual novel? It's been on my list for a while. It's one of the ones I haven't checked out yet. 2064, read-only memories. I broke my own rule. I actually haven't played this yet, but I just bought it and started getting into it, and I've heard so many good things. It's a point-and-click adventure game where a lot of the characters are various types of people in a futuristic world where I think some people might be gay. Again, I'm not entirely certain on this one, but I've heard so many good things, and I actually own it physically from good luck, because it's another limited run game. Why are all the gay shit limited run? But I have heard so many good things. I really need to play that one as well. I've heard a lot of good stuff about Shadowrun. I didn't realize I had non-binary characters in it. I'll have to push it higher on my list. Fire Emblem! You know I gotta mention it. Again, I'm not gonna talk about it too much because I feel like people on my channel probably know I love this game. But it's so authentic. I mean, not only can you romance a decent amount of people that are gay as your main character. I think there's like 6 female options and 3 guys, except some of the options suck. Yeah, you know, some of them are not great for plot reasons or other reasons. But it's just, the ones that exist are really well written, and a lot of the side characters can be gay or implied and flirt with each other, and like Dorothea flirts with Ingrid and it's not taken as an insult or made a joke. Like, it's just very natural and makes it feel like gay people live and exist in this world, whereas a lot of things like Tolkien and other stuff, like, they just make it so obvious that no one like that exists. Fire Emblem makes it feel like this is a universe where those kinds of people just are normal and just part of the world. Even if you can't romance everybody, you can pair a lot of the side characters with each other and they end up having their, like, happily ever after together. Like Ferdinand and Hubert, who are meant for each other. And it's just amazing. I really do like it. It's not perfect, but there's so much, like, next to the pile of shit that is most video games, it's so good. And yeah, Claude is one of my disappointments. He was definitely written like he was meant to be gay. He dances with you at the ball, no matter if you're a man or a woman. But clearly somebody from up top, I think, stepped in and said, no, this is too gay. My androgynous boyfriend. This is so freaking cute, and I love the art style. I don't know that it's technically gay. The main character, they don't ever really discuss if he identifies as non-binary or anything, as far as I know, it is a romance story between a cis woman and a cis man, but it deals with gender expectations and societal expectations. A lot of people mistake him as a gay man, or that they are not together, or what have you. And it's a slice of life story about how the main guy is very androgynous. He stays home and takes care of the house. He does makeup. He's on Instagram and he's a model. And his wife is a typical, like, office worker, very plain Jane. And it's about how they just live their lives day to day and how the society expects them to behave versus how happy they are together the way they are. It really warmed my heart. It was really sweet and nice, and the art is very pretty. There's only one volume in the West right now, but it's really good. I highly recommend it. After Hours. I've not finished it. It's only 3 volumes. Bye, Jeff. I'll see you later. It's upside down. But what I like about it is it's in a setting that I've not seen a lot of, like, gay romance stories. It's like a club story. This college kid meets, I think she's a DJ, at a club, and they end up going home together. It's a very short story. Like I said, there's only 3 volumes, but like it's definitely interesting. It's different in that it's about, you know, college kids becoming intimate through music, through their shared interest in various musics and types of musics and songs and blah blah blah. Have not finished it. Really liked the first volume. Definitely worth a try. Yuri on Ice. Oh man, it's probably super famous and everybody's heard of it by now, but Yuri on Ice is an ice skating anime about 2 gay guys and their son. Eventually, their son. So the main character is an ice skater who is very anxious. It deals a lot with anxiety and depression. He's been struggling with his career, and he ends up, through a YouTube video, catching the eye of a really famous and talented performer that he absolutely adores, who then decides to fly over and become his coach. And it's the story of the famous performer being the coach of the nervous guy, and they end up falling in love. And it's super sweet, super romantic, and really a great exploration of character and depression and anxiety and how you work through that with a partner. It's really sweet and lighthearted, and, well, not lighthearted, it's kind of like bittersweet, I guess. Yes, definitely nice to see some LGBTQ that isn't so fetishized. Oh, I have gone through the shit. I have purged the fetishy crap, because I've seen it and I've read it and it's garbage. I feel like because of all the fetishism, terms like yaoi and yuri have become, or boy love, girl love, whatever, have become really stigmatized, because a lot of it was fetishy, weird crap and gross and bad. But in recent years, it feels like who has been allowed to publish stories and the kinds of stories that are allowed to be published has blossomed so much that those terms are not bad anymore. There's so much good there now. Really realistic human portrayals of LGBT people, fantasy portrayals. Our Dreams at Dusk. I haven't read that one yet, but it's on my master list of things in the description if you want to look at my whole list of stuff that I haven't read yet, but I'm going to, and I don't know if it's good. Our Dreams at Dusk, I've heard, is very, very good. Yes, Yuri on Ice, one of the main characters is Russian, and the other one is Japanese, and I had heard something about the fact that it was dealing with Russian homophobia or cultural issues there. I don't know a lot, but I had heard that they made him that. Yaoi and Yuri has had a glow up. Honestly, it has. Like, I'm not saying that some people aren't still weird about it, or that some works are not still weird, because they are. But there's a lot more good stuff there. Oh man, it's so much good stuff there. I think it's been, becomes popular enough that more authentic expressions of LGBT experiences are being allowed to be published. Anyway. Bloom into You. Oh, speaking of asexual, if you like that, you should probably check out Bloom Into You. It's a lovely high school story, which I tend to avoid just because there's so many high school stories. It's like oversaturated at this point. But Bloom Into You is about a young girl who doesn't experience romantic attraction. She goes to a new school or starts the new year or something, and the very popular, like, school president finds out about her and how she doesn't feel love and says, I'm in love with you. And she's like, I don't want you to reciprocate. I just want to be with you, and I love you. And it explores the fact that the president has never felt love, but has wanted to experience what love is. And the other girl kind of really isn't sure if she's experiencing love or not. And it's an exploration of what it means to feel love and desire, and figuring out those boundaries for yourself. Multiple characters talk about how they don't experience romance. They like it when they see other people in love, but they've never felt it themselves. Other characters, I think, don't feel it normally, but end up feeling it for some people. Demisexuality. I haven't finished it. I've only read the first 6 volumes, but honestly, it really hit me hard with my high school experience of not knowing what I felt or who I felt it for, because when you're figuring out if you're gay or straight or what, like, if you don't feel sexual attraction to someone, you're like, oh, is it because I'm straight? Is it because I'm gay? Is it because you're not my type? Like, Bloom Into You does a good job of exploring those kinds of things. And I think it's really lovely. I don't know. I haven't finished the story. I don't know if they actually end up together or not, but the two girls definitely care about each other a lot. And there is an anime as well that I've not watched. It hit really hard, the feelings of not knowing if I felt desire or not, and if I felt it for this person or not. Because I kind of identified with the way that the main female character is kind of latching on to this girl and trying to figure it out. Because my first boyfriend was a very good friend of mine, and I was trying to figure out if I liked people that way, and it didn't work out because I wasn't attracted to him. And I was like, well, am I with no one, or am I... And it took, a few years in high school to figure all that out. And so this story really, I really identified with the way that the main characters are trying to stumble around in the dark and figure out if or how they are attracted to people. It's really lovely. Ten Dance is one of the most beautiful, passionate stories I've ever read. I picked it up at first because the art is beautiful, but it's also a love story between 2 male professional dancers. The one is the master of the waltz and classical dancing. The other is half South American. I can't remember if it was Cuba, Colombia. I can't remember what country, but his mom or dad, I can't remember which one. He is half Southern American and half Japanese, and so he is the master of, like, the more passionate, the salsa dances, those kinds of things. So the classical dancer approaches him and says, hey, you teach me how to dance passionately, I'll teach you how to dance classically. And so it's about the two of them teaching each other and taking lessons together, and as they are dancing with one another, trying to prepare for this competition, they're falling in love with each other. It's really beautiful. I learned a lot about freaking professional dancing and how to dance, and it's just really lovely. I wish it was a freaking anime, but it's not. It's 5 volumes so far. I think it's going to end up being 10, because 10 dance. There's 10 dances they learn. It's very saucy, very flirty, and it actually has a good bit of, like, drama and politics in it, with the dancing world judging them and stuff. It's very cool. I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorites. Blue Giant. I've never heard of that one. I'll have to check that out. If you do have any recommendations you want to add, comment below so I can, like, make another list, and we can spread out that list. Okay, that was that. I think we've almost gone through everything. Aha! Mo Dao Zushi, the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. Originally a boys' love book in China that was published chapter by chapter online, it is a story of a fantasy Chinese historical world of magic and monsters and these clans of warriors that fight them, and how 2 warriors, kind of star-crossed lovers, fall in love, are separated by war, and eventually reunited far in the future, and they get married. They get married! It's so good! The one guy is named Wei Ying. He's a necromancer. He ends up using dark arts because he wants to protect his family, and that's, you know, they're in a war, so he uses dark arts, but everybody's, you're using the dark arts, we're going to kill you! The only one that believes in him and doesn't turn on him is Lanjan. I'm probably saying that wrong, but that's the guy in white. He's the strict, rule-abiding character that thinks, you know, you have to obey the rules and do the things right and blah blah. But of course they rub off on each other, and he learns it's okay to bend the rules sometimes. Wei Ying learns, you know, sometimes you gotta walk the straight and narrow. They learn together. They end up teaming up and believing in each other even when nobody else does. They stand together against the world, and it's so good. There's a lot of really good world building, a lot of good characters. It honestly feels like a Lord of the Rings or a Game of Thrones style story set in historical China with gay people. The only canonical pairing is the two of them, but there are some other pairs that really have a lot of implied stuff there, most of which end tragically. If you want to find the Netflix show, which is the easiest way to start, that is The Untamed, or in the link in the description, you can go to the original book. I don't recommend starting with the book, kind of for the same reason I don't recommend fans of The Lord of the Rings to start with the book. I feel like it's easier to watch the movie first, so I would watch the shows. The anime or The Untamed is the name of the Netflix adaptation, which is actually finished. You could hang out and watch it with us on Discord, because that's what we've started doing. We watched the first 9 episodes of the anime yesterday. We're going to continue on Friday and keep watching. And if you want to catch up with the anime, you can do that. We'll watch the live show afterward. The live show is actually finished. It's 50 episodes. The anime's last season comes out next year. The novel's the original story. There's an audio drama that's really good. I mean, the amount of content is huge, and fans have translated basically all of it. There's a manga that's ongoing. I mean, there's so much. It's so good. You read the book first? I actually saw the Netflix show first, which was really, God, the Netflix show's so good, and it really hit me when we were watching the anime. I think the anime is an easier introduction to the world, but the live show is so much more romantic. It's so funny to me that because of censorship in China, they aren't really allowed to say that these two are in love, even though obviously the book is a gay book. But every scene in the live show is just so romantic. You can see how much these two people care about each other. It's up there with frickin' The House and Fata Morgana for how romantic that show was. Yeah, we also had a lot of fun joking and goofing off while watching the anime. That was a lot of fun. And Phil was half of the puns. There were a lot of puns about arms. A lot of puns about being armless. Anyway, it's really good. Even if you don't watch it with us, you should check it out. It's as a person that loves high fantasy like Lord of the Rings, I've always really enjoyed those kind of stories and never felt like, you know, I identified with them as much. Because, like, Lord of the Rings, nobody's gay in that, you know? And it doesn't... there's not really something equivalent to that. This feels like a high fantasy Lord of the Rings-esque story with gay people. And it just... oh, it makes me so happy. It's so good. Start with The Untamed, probably. It's on Netflix, so it's easy to find. It's really good. And if you enjoy that, from there's a lot of other stuff to enjoy. Alright, so now we're going to go to music. So these are musicians who are somewhere on the spectrum of LGBT, and their music tends to deal with those kinds of themes. And Mary Lambert is first on the list. You've probably heard her song before, if you've heard that one white rapper, what's his name? And he sang that song about how, when I was a kid, I drew pictures and my dad thought I was gay. That was sad. We should be nice to gay people. I can't remember that dude's name, but he sampled her song in his song. Her song's way frickin' better. It's called She Keeps Me Warm. She is, I think, a lesbian. And a lot of her music is just really heartfelt and beautiful and makes me want to sing along. There's a playlist in the description of the video where you can listen to various songs from all the people I'm about to recommend. I put my favorites from all of them. And Mary Lambert just has a lovely voice and sings a lot of really lovely songs, like love ballads. She does a version of Jesse's Girl where she doesn't change the pronouns. So it's a lesbian version of Jesse's Girl. It's really lovely. Patrick Wolf. Patrick Wolf is, I think, a gay man. He sings some songs to his lover, and they're all so haunting. One of the songs in the list kind of deals with transgender themes. His music is amazing, and his voice has such a range. It is haunting. One of my favorite songs of his is written to a fellow artist friend who committed suicide, and it makes me weep every time. It breaks my heart. It's called The Sun Is Often Out. Oh, it's haunting. His music is haunting. Yes, Macklemore, that was the guy that sampled Mary Lambert. Her song's so much better. Placebo! Placebo is a band, and they sing a lot of things that deal with themes of gender and sexuality. The band members have changed over time, but there were originally, I think, a gay man and a bisexual man. I think the lead singer might be gay, and I don't remember who changed what. It's been a while. I've been listening to these guys since I was like 12. They sing a lot of songs that deal with sexuality, gender, identity, what you feel, how you're perceived, and it's really fun and very like rock. When you want to rock out and listen to something grungy, they're really good. I really like them. Hey, Lynn Griffin. Angel Haze. I'm not sure if Angel Haze is the correct name anymore, because at one point she was like, I want to be Ray Rose, I think. She was going to change the name. I think she is non-binary, but I don't know that. It's confusing because sometimes the music, like to find her music on Spotify, you have to search Angel Haze. So I will refer to her as Angel Haze, but I believe she's non-binary and attracted to pans. I think she's pan, I think. She's a rapper and does a lot of like such intense music that deals with suicide, themes of abuse, religion, family, sexuality. Oh my god, like just, it hurts, but it also is amazing, and just, oh man, it knocks me off my feet every time. I love her so much. Ugh. Janelle Monae. Janelle Monae is pan, I think she's confirmed, and maybe non-binary. She's never really addressed it concretely, but kind of refers to herself as an android and says she's attracted to androids because it's part of like her music is a story. Written as if she is a performer from a fictional world where there's an android uprising against the powers that be. Android representing the underclass of people of different races and sexualities and genders and such. And Electric Lady is probably my favorite soundtrack of hers, but her music deals a lot with being authentic to who you are. Queen is probably her most famous song, and it's really powerful. I love it so much. She also writes a lot of really lovely love ballads like Primetime. Like, oh, just, I can listen to her music and just kind of vibe. It's really, really good. Utada Hikaru! Her music is probably most famous for Kingdom Hearts. But she is also, I believe, bisexual, I think. A lot of her music can kind of be interpreted as being kind of gay. She has a song called You Make Me Want to Be a Man. And some of her love songs are sort of ambiguous in who they're referring to. I really like her work. I've loved her since Kingdom Hearts 1, and I've had a couple of her CDs over the years. They're really fun and poppy and really different. They often feel like from song to song she's experimenting a lot with various sounds and being very, very interesting, very explorative. Billy Starr, I'll have to check that out. I really like her. All right, well, that's everything. Wow, it only took an hour. I felt like I was like, I have way too much shit. Oh no, but I didn't want to cut anything. Utada's LGBT. I don't remember where I read it, so I think she is. I think she confirmed it on Twitter that she's bi. But again, I'm not 100% because I couldn't find it. But I remember years ago there being this whole thing where people freaked out because she mentioned it on Twitter. Yeah, but I love her music. Again, if you have recommendations you want to add to the list, comment them below so that I can have them saved so that they won't disappear into the chat, and I'll have to check them out. Look in the description for a link to the playlist of music recommendations if you want to hear some of the songs. There's a link to the full list of things that I've recommended today, as well as a bunch of other stuff I didn't talk about because not enough time, and or I haven't checked them out personally, so I can't 100% can guarantee their quality, but they've been on my list to check out. Also a link to Modao Zushi's novel, Again, I think you should probably start with the Netflix show, but I mean, if you want to read the book. It's in the description. I really loved it. It really means a lot to me. And you can always watch the show with us because it's been so much fun. I've really enjoyed it. We're going to continue Friday, it looks like, because that seems to be the day that everybody has the most free time. Yeah, so that is everything, I think. And we're going to be back at 3 for Persona 5. Tomorrow will be, I'm not sure if I'm going to stream Persona or Shin Megami Tensei. We'll stream something too, and then keeps this Friday will be the anime Modao Zushi at like the afternoon after Fanfic Friday. So yeah, we will do all that. Thanks again for watching. Thanks to all our members for supporting the channel. If you want to support the channel and get behind the scenes content, the link is in the description. And I think that's it. Yeah, thanks again. If you want to catch up with the anime before we keep going on Friday, the link is in the Discord. I can also post it over here as well. You should, because it's so good and it's so gay, and I need more people to talk to about it. But yeah, that's everything. So I'll see you guys at 3 for Persona.